It's silly to start Amad Diallo straight away. You need to ease him in. And funny enough, I said this when Luke Shaw came back from injury. And I specifically put it out there because I knew this was going to happen. And Luke Shaw's gone out injured again. You can't be rushing players back.
I'd go Pellistri personally. What would you go?
I'd go Anthony.
I'd go Anthony. I thought Anthony looked all right the other day when he came on.
I'm sure it is with Anthony. I like him and I want him to do well. He just slows our attacking output down so much.
Do you know the reason why I wouldn't go Pellistri? Because of the cup game in a couple of days. I'd start Pellistri in that cup game.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
So
but why can't you start both?
I'd go Anthony today.
Some people are saying, what if he's dropping an Nana? I mean, we've got a super chat. I don't think he will be doing. I could bet he won't. But Keel Robinson says, play McTominay at 9. Joanne David says, hey Jordan, great to see you on the show. You are the only one that talks sense. The rest of you are great, just not as great as Jordan. Facts.
Thanks, Nan.
And he also says, P.S. Beth, I blame you for an Nana. Most people do. And Ricky...
Who was that? I want to buy him a beer.
Joanne David. He said, Ricky Scott is not a good player. Ricky isn't here, but I'm sure he's watching. But you will never change his mind on that. You will never, ever change his mind. Let's see what the poll... Have we still got the poll running?
Yeah. Anthony 46%. Amad 32%. Pellistri 22.
We should be getting the team in any time now.
You already got it, haven't you?
No, I've not.
Have you not?
I've not. Any time now.
Okay.
I mean, while we're getting the team in, now you've heard this Hoyland news.
Yep.
How much does that affect United today?
I don't think it massively affects United, depending on what else he does. It's the straightforward thing would be to start Anthony and play Rashford through the middle because there isn't any other option. If he decides to put Bruno out there to play McTominay and whatnot, then the domino effect to Hoyland not being there is massive. So this is where you want the manager to have a cool head and make smart decisions rather than emotional decisions and try and crowbar players in that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. Interesting stuff. Wolves are beating Everton 2-0. Wolves are doing really well at the minute. They're doing really well. Cunha with the second goal. I mean, Faz, what would you do?
In terms of? In terms of,
would you play the exact same team, but just with Anthony coming on the right and Garnacho moving to the left? And
yeah, I would. I wouldn't. I know Ricky says it, and the manager will never do it, but I would love to see Anthony on the left as well and see Garnacho on the right, because Garnacho had some output from the right hand side already. You know, last game. So let's try Anthony on the left-hand side. Let's try that experiment and see how that works out. You know, funny thing is with Alejandro is he's great with both feet. You can play him on the left, you can play him on the right. You'll get good outputs from him. So since Anthony is so one-footed, let's try him on the left-hand side. But that's not going to happen at all. He's probably going to play Garnacho left, Anthony right, Rashford in the middle. Rashford got loads of goals.
Oh my gosh, guys!
Amad
starting.
Huh?
Amad
started, yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Why are you saying that? I'm excited for him. If he's fit, I'm ready. I'm excited for him.
Wow. Yeah, but I wasn't expecting that at all.
What's Anthony done? Just not played well?
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Amad must have been brilliant in training. Did you see that training video that went viral this week of the difference?
Yeah. I see that.
I know it sounds obviously...
People get excited though. That was a really short clip, wasn't it?
Obviously, you can't... Oh my gosh.
Amad.
Luke Shaw and Amrabat are not part of the Manchester United squad to face Nottingham Forest. Wow, guys. Do you want to know the starting 11?
Yes, I do. Give it to me.
I have got it right here.
That's madness. Wow.
I mean, this is coming out now. Before I read it out, I'm just going to make sure that, I think it is right, but I'm just going to make sure with my superior that it's from a good source. 1 second, guys.
But look, I'm excited for Amad Diallo to start. I am. I just hope it's not a scenario where he's rushed back. I'll be deadly honest.
Neither do I, but at the same time, he has been in training... I
don't get carried away with these things.
Yeah, but he has been in training for weeks now. We've all been asking, where's Amad, where's Amad? Yeah. He has been in training for weeks. We all saw the training video. Of course, it's only one clip, but I'm sure you guys at home have seen it. The way by the way, he's against Willy Kambwala, who is a centre-back. He just... goes straight at him, beats it, shot, goal. Anthony's against Dangor, who obviously is, still like got some defensive attributes. But Willy Campbell is obviously a little bit more defensive than what Dangara is. A lot more defensive than what Dangara is. And Anthony takes about, a few minutes before he's chopping back, he's chopping in.
He's got one leg.
I know, but this is why, guys. Anyone out there who wants to be a professional footballer, take it from me, I'm joking. But you've got to be able to use both feet at the top level. You just do. It's like, remember when Harry Kane used to do training sessions just on his left foot?
But you can't get too caught up in a one clip.
I know. I'm not getting
seconds long. Like you can't read into that.
I'm not getting caught up in one clip, but I'm just saying, it's a running theme with Anthony where he takes too long on the ball, and often usually when Anthony does things the quickest, is always when he's the best. And I think Anthony's got attributes, but he just needs to be a little bit quicker, and he needs to trust himself more on his right foot, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think the one thing we can take from this, if Ahmad does start today with Menu, is that how much...
Oh, gosh. Apparently Ahmad doesn't start. Apparently it's the wrong lineup. Woo! Good job I didn't read the starting 11 out.
I was very surprised that football doesn't work like that. I've been around football long enough to know you don't just snap a ball.
Anthony starts now.
Yeah.
Anthony starts. Who leaked that stuff, guys? Who leaked that stuff?
It was exciting for a couple of minutes, though, wasn't it?
I was excited to see Ahmad start, I can't lie.
I just think, what I was just saying, there's a cup game in a couple of days. You don't bring those players in now, today, in a Premier League game, when you've got the FA Cup in a couple of days. They should all feature then. That makes sense. You should start an Anthony today and give Ahmad minutes in the cup.
I've been absolutely trolled. First of all, Hoyland's ill, and now I get excited thinking Ahmad's going to start, because I really do like Ahmad. I think he's got a lot of potential. And obviously, no disrespect to Anthony, I've seen what I've seen of Anthony, and he needs to do a lot more for me to get excited about him, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like I said, I think with that cup game coming up...
Yeah, but the cup game, I swear the cup game isn't until the 14th. Wait, when's the cup game? Not the 14th.
It's the 3rd or something. It's literally next week.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking about Spurs there? I swear it's like... It's not too long away, though. It's not like that quickly away.
Yeah, it's like next week. It's literally in a couple of days.
Oh, it is. I don't know why I thought it was. Oh, it's the break after that. It's on the 8th of Jan. So it's over a week ago. It's next Monday. Players can
get Monday, is it?
Yeah, players
can. Friday.
Players can get back fit for that. But I understand what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, guys. I mean, Faz, you excited? Anthony starts.
There's been a couple of scenarios this season when Anthony could have had a few assists or goals, and it's almost like a bit of a luck where it's not happened. I remember one particular game where he passed the ball to Rashford, and Rashford should have got a goal, even Rasmus, but it's just not happened for him. And what else can I say on Anthony that's not been said already? I just hope at the end of the day, in the Premier League anyways, it's all about numbers. You have to get your numbers right. Look at Arsenal fans now having a go at Saka and Martinelli. And they're obviously much better players than Anthony, respectively. So, yeah, he just has to get his numbers. He's so pivotal to the system. I get it. But if you're not getting the numbers, you don't justify being in Manchester United. I'll be deadly honest. Or even if you're not getting the numbers, you're not a wing back. There's no such thing as defensive winger. You have to go forward and you have to create chances and create opportunities for the forwards. His crossing's not been good enough. His cutback's not been good, not there. His link-up's not been there. And only thing I can say is, instead of saying more on the player, I'll be deadly honest, I am going to pin it on the manager, because that is his number one player. His biggest signing, that's, him and Lisandro Martinez are his core players, and one of them has done well for Manchester United and one of them haven't. And the one that's done well for Manchester United will praise him, rightly so. But the one that hasn't, we have to ask questions as to why the manager's not being able to make it work. People want Bissaka to play with on the right-hand side. People want Dalot to play with. Well, either of the fullbacks you play, is the output's still not as good as it needs to be, which is the truth.
This is interesting. This is from our community. On the right wing, who would you play? 41% say Ahmad, 40% said Anthony, and 18% said Pellistri. So,
nearly 4,000 people voted on that.
Yeah, nearly 4,000 people. So it was very close between Ahmad and Anthony. Ahmad got 1%, but maybe that was because of the leaked news. But Anthony does start. I mean, one thing I will say to you, Faz, is obviously last week, Garnacho's never played on the right wing in his professional career, and he contributes with 2 goals, and he's brilliant all game. does that like kind of show Anthony what he needs to do a bit more, like be a bit more direct?
Yeah, I saw, you know, you were talking about the training clip. What Ahmad did is, okay, people are going to analyze the clip way too much, but in a scenario where you're 1v1, it's how quickly you can get the ball out of your feet. That's the whole purpose of that session. And out of both of them, neither of them did as well as Donny van der Beek. Donny van der Beek got the ball, turned, got the ball off straight away, sharp, fast. That's what you're supposed to do. And Anthony took the most amount of time. And it tells you why. Yes, he's a flair player and he likes to do the tricks and skills and whatever, nutmegs and etc., which is nice. You can do that in a team where maybe the manager or the fans or, you know, the football allows you to do that. Whereas in Manchester United, he started his career doing a spin and Old Trafford crowd were booing him, I remember. Very, very vividly, I remember they were booing him. You have to be direct. You have to be straight up. And my thing is, if you're in the Premier League playing for a team, you should be studying the other wingers in the league who are getting success. The Salahs, the Fodens, the Palmers, that's what you should be studying. The Sterling, you know, you should be studying their footage and saying, what have they been doing that warrants them being so successful? And what am I not doing well? Because not everything you're going to do is going to come off. And he's aggressive, he's strong, which is all positives. But going forward, it's not necessarily killing our attack, but he definitely slows it down when he doesn't need to. And that's the only thing I can say. And that's down to the manager. The manager has to get him to do things that they want him to do. The manager has to direct and nurture him into a way that fits into the Premier League.
A lot of people are saying he's a bit of a one-trick pony, which I know a lot. I mean, but what is the trick though? Because cutting inside his left foot is like a 1 in.
Well, his left foot.
That is the one.
But it's a 1 in 150 success rate, something silly like that. I think he does it at least once every game, probably twice. And how many has he scored? 3.
He's been well and truly found out really quickly. I think if you're going to be that one-footed, you've got to be Aaron Robben level of talent on that 1 foot, and he just isn't. And I totally get what Faz is saying. It is up to the manager to coach him and try and get more out of him. But ultimately, I think we can all see, you know, in the space of a season and a half, where Anthony's ceiling is, and it's nowhere near 80 million.
I mean, it's tough coming into the Premier League, but you would have thought by now we'd be seeing something.
I just don't know why. And again, this is on the manager, and I'm sure Faz will agree with this. Why did he look at Anthony and go balls out to sign Anthony when there was better players in that league?
Kudos.
Yeah. Like, why? And I'd love for Ten Hag to explain why he looked and thought Anthony's ceiling was higher than, say, Kudus' ceiling.
But then again, like, you look at it, and Man United do have this thing where players go downhill when they come to us. It's like, Kudus could have come to United and Anthony could have gone to West Ham. We could be saying the same thing, like opposite ways now.
He hasn't gone downhill. He didn't get up the hill. And Anthony's never set the world alight from when he's coming.
But like, he was good at Ajax though. That's the thing.
How good was he at Ajax? Like, people have come out saying like he wasn't the best player at Ajax.
I mean, he scored his first 3 games for United.
He did, yeah, but what has he done? He hasn't done anything.
No,
since,
I know.
Like,
I wouldn't have started him today. I'm not a big Anthony fan. Through the output, I don't think the output's good enough. The one positive I can say is against Forest. Last time we played Forest, I don't know whether it was at home or if it was away, but he slid a nice ball through to Darlow and they ended up scoring.
I thought he looked lively the other day when he came on, but that's exactly the point. You said he scored in his first 3 games. It took 3 games of data for Premier League teams to figure him out. And he's never been the same since. So he needs to have more levels to his play because he's came in with that one trick dimension to him and he got farmed out within 3 games and he hasn't been able to adapt and evolve to the challenges of the Premier League yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. People are saying, you know, we paid nearly 90 million for Anthony and Elanga went to Forest and there's not much difference in it. And
I don't. The price tag is not his fault.
No, of course
the price tag is bad structure at the club, and panicking and overpaying.
It's not his fault, but people are always going to judge it.
Oh, of course, they're always going to judge him by the price tag, but it's not his fault. That's just bad management.
But it's like when we paid 80 mil for Maguire. That's not his fault, but people are always going to talk about it.
But that was dictated by the Van Dijk price tag at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean
that's what they've looked at. That's why Leicester.
The only one thing you would say is if he came in and was decent, no one would be talking about the price tag. But he's not been. So that's why people talk about it, isn't it?
I think at 80 million, you need to be more than decent. When you look at the money that...
You need to be good, at least good.
You look at Maddison, you look at Palmer, you look at...
Palmer.
Yeah, like... It's you need more. You need more from him.
Yeah, I agree. Got some super chats in. Bogdan said, Radek Vitek is the best goalkeeper and United don't use him. He's a complete goalkeeper, definitely better than Anana. Check the United under-21 versus Brighton to convince you. I know Vitek is doing well, but to shove him into a starting lineup right now would just not be it for me. Yeah. And there's a difference between under-21 and first-team Premier League level, but I appreciate your opinion, absolutely. And, maybe he will break through at some point and he might do well, but for now I can't see it. Just tuned in, is Rasmus out? Yes, unfortunately he is. He's ill. Don't know why we keep getting these illnesses, and we should have the lineup any second now, guys. Sorry, we only got the only exclusive we had for you is that Ahmad does not start. So I don't want to give anything and it be wrong. I've got news, but I don't want to give anything and be wrong. Okay, just while we're waiting, Onana going away now. Is he going to struggle to get his place back? Do you think? Because he was your guy. So give me your opinion. I mean. I just wanted to get that out there. He wasn't my guy. He was the way that people talk about it, the way it was. When I did, I don't want to backtrack because I still hope he will turn out well. But when I did the video about keepers that could potentially replace De Gea, I had 3 options, and there were Diogo Costa, there were David Raya, and I can't remember what the other one is. Was it Maignan? Might have been Maignan. I wasn't ever doing a video saying United should sign Onana. To be honest, because I didn't think it was an option. Because I didn't think it was going to be an option. Yeah. But then when we signed him, I was very happy because of how he played in the Champions League and how he did well. Obviously, he's not started very well. I do think he's been over-criticised on certain things. Really? But he absolutely does need to do better. But he has been over-criticised on certain situations. So? In my opinion, the amount of goals that he's given away and his performance in the Champions League, you think he's been over-criticised? Obviously, the Champions League, that has to be criticised. It was so poor. But for example, people going in on him in the West Ham game, and that wasn't, for me, I don't think that was warranted and being massively criticised. But for example, the Villa goal, the first one, where he should have come out and claimed it, absolutely criticised that because he should have. But I think people now, they're so focused on it. But he does need to massively improve. He's not been good enough. I've said that for sure. My concern is he's at a point where lineups are out. Oh, God. Lineups are out. Well, we can talk about that in a second. But the lineup is Onana in goal. It's exactly what you'd expect, realistically. It's the exact same 11 as last week, but with Anthony added in. So it's Onana in goal. You've got a back 4 of Wan-Bissaka right back, Rafael Varane and Johnny Evans as centre backs. And then you've got Dalot playing as left back. You've got midfield 3 of Mainu, Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes. Then you've got a front 3 of Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony and Rashford up front. And the subs bench, everyone. Bayindera on the bench, Kumbuala, Reguilon, Ahmad, Gore, Hannibal, McTominay, Pellistri, Van der Beek. I mean, looking at the lineup in the subs bench, one, Fazzy happy with it, and second of all, are you expecting to see maybe? Sorry, Beth, could you tell me the bench again, please? He was Bayindera, Kumbuala, Reguilon, Ahmad, Gore, Hannibal, McTominay, Pellistri and Van der Beek. Okay. So looking at that bench, I mean, we all knew the starting 11 was probably going to be the same as last time, but with Anthony added in. But looking at that bench, do you think Ahmad could maybe get some minutes off the bench today? Hopefully, if we're in a 2-3 goal lead, I would like to see Amad Diallo come in for Anthony and see the game out, give him some minutes, And we're playing one game a week, so it'll be loads of options for them to work on the training pitch together and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we're not playing that many games in terms of European games, so there won't be much rotation. But yeah, I'd like to see him. I tell you what, though, yet again, Diogo Dalot's playing left back, and Sergio Reguilon is not playing left back when he's the preferred or a player that's designated for that position. So I will keep on banging this drum about how good of a fullback he is, and you could say he's not Manchester United level. Well, who is Manchester United level? What is our level? But yet another week, Diogo Dalot's going to play left back, and I promise you he'll have a good performance. Well, yeah, I think everyone, including Ten Hag, have seen enough of Reguilon to know that he isn't that guy.
He got off to an absolute flyer the first game, and then we've not really seen a loss since. So I agree with you, Faz. I'd rather see Delo there than Reguilon all day, every day. I'd say that you can't predict what this manager's going to do at times, and the fact that is the only change he made is great for me. That was the right thing to do. What I didn't want him to do was what we mentioned earlier, which was to try and crowbar McTominay back in and play Bruno out of position or whatnot. So I'm glad that he's gone with the same side, which means if Højlund was available, it would have just been the same starting 11. So I'm good, which means that we should take some momentum from the Villa game into this game against Forest, which is going to be tough.
Got some chats in. Jason Griffin said Ten Hag had to buy Anthony because our scouting department wasn't scouting the type of players Ten Hag wants. He wanted someone like De Jong and they came back with Casemiro. That's Man United in a nutshell. Marzi1251 says if Anthony had been bought for the original price tag I accept for him, he would not be under as much scrutiny as he has been. That's probably true, yeah. Mario Franco says, did Rasmus and Martial have the raw chicken too? And Nicholas Walker says, I wouldn't start Rashford. He can't press and has poor gameplay knowledge. I think he needs to be put out for a bit, and a bit of humbling is in order. Rashford played really well last game. I'm not in agreement.
I think it was one of Rashford's best games this season. And who else is there? Who else could have played through the middle today?
But why do you think it was Rashford's best game?
Because he was unselfish, and he trapped back, and he did the right things.
Okay. My analysis, Villa's high line. When teams are playing much higher line, you're going to see Rashford natural DNA of running in behind, sprinting.
Of course.
Yeah. When teams are playing in a low block, mid block, obviously Manchester United are going to be higher up on the pitch, and in transition, when we need to track back, Rashford's not going to track back enough.
Yeah, he doesn't have the space to run into.
So that particular game, that particular team and setup allowed Rashford to play slightly bit more how we would usually play in a counter-attacking system.
But that's our whole team in a nutshell. Our whole team's but good at counter-attacking football.
I agree with you, Faz. He's obviously going to play better against with a higher line, but I think his decision making was better the other day, and that is usually what lets him down.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And it's just, he was actually looking up for the pass. He was unselfish. He was doing the right work. He wasn't 10 out of 10, of course not, but it was a good step back in the right direction. Sure. Hopefully he can carry it on today.
Confidence affects everyone. You know, people look at the weekly salary and think he should be super confident all the time. That will give him some level of confidence. That will give everybody in that team some level of confidence. So, and he'd been dropped. So it's how players respond to that. Suddenly when he's not guaranteed his first team place, sometimes you think, do you know what, I got to show him what I'm about. So hopefully he has, rose to the challenge.
Burnley have just equalised against Aston Villa 2-2 in the 71st minute. Mo Abdallah says, hello from Toronto. Lads, Rashford hasn't played a striker role in a long time. What do you expect from Ten Hag today in terms of strategy? Faz?
In terms of strategy for
Rashford down the middle.
I said it before, he's had loads of outputs last season from the middle. He really has. Remember that header he scored as well at home whilst he was playing.
It's been a while though since he's played it, and the last couple of times he's gone into that role in the last 10 minutes of a game. He's had like one touch, but hopefully today he can do a good job. Tom O'Duff says put Garnacho on the right and Anthony on the left. I'd love that.
I'd love to see that.
See, I'd be absolutely smitten, smiling with Anthony starting if he was starting on the left. I'd much prefer him because at least he's going to get crosses into the box and he can be, he can run it players properly on that side. Because people don't often acknowledge it, but Anthony has quite a bit of pace, to be honest, and he can beat a man. He just struggles on that right foot. So I'd love that, and Garnacho was so good on the right as well. It'd be great, but I don't think Ten Hag would do it.
Exactly. The problem is he beats a man and has to cut inside, and it's on that cut back inside where he tends to lose the ball or give it away. So I'd love to see that, and that's definitely something.
I would really, I would forgive a lot of things, and I would overlook a lot of things if he was getting a lot of goals from his left foot.
He's not though, is he?
Like the way Mahrez would or Ziyech would. And they're top class players. They're very one-footed as well. Don't forget. But they can really hit the target. From that right hand side. And I would love for Anthony to be getting more goals like that.
Those players, they still got a bit of power on their other foot, haven't they? Like, I just look at Anthony sometimes, and he looks so awkward when he's trying to play anything with the other foot. I really don't remember a player being as one-footed as Anthony.
It's weird, he did cross it on his right foot the other day and it was actually decent, but it's like, and then I think, why don't you do that more? It's just, like you said, it does look awkward. Someone said Sean Millis needs to play up front for us today. I mean, if only he could teleport from Australia over here.
He's technically registered, so he could.
Patrick Juhas says, Dalot is the only fullback we have that can receive the ball in the half turn and can play inverted. He's been class defensively as well. Dalot's been good recently.
Yeah.
Fantastic comment. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
He's a good squad player to have. Absolutely is. He absolutely is.
I have so many stats of Dalot that I could bring up, but I'm not gonna and bore you guys. But
you love
you
love a stat, don't you?
I have a full paragraph of factual information of Dalot's stats that put him like as one of our most excelling players.
When he went on loan to Milan, he played on the left quite a lot, didn't he, on that loan? So the fact he can do both is good for us. Freddie says, I would play Anthony at the left. He can't shoot, so it's better to run down the wing and put crosses in. Garner was also so good on the right. And Sean says, I'm not against him. He hasn't played enough minutes yet. When he has played, he's not been impactful, and there was no criticism against Mount, whereas Anthony's had it non-stop since he started. It's not fair. I think it's because Anthony's been here for quite a while. Do you know what? I generally didn't criticise Anthony until the last few weeks. That's when my patience started to wear thin.
Yeah. Well, at the beginning of the season, we both picked him as standout players that were going
to have good seasons.
Good seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really felt he was going to turn up this year.
I mean, if you're looking, this is an interesting one, and chat can get involved in this as well. If you're looking to the bench today and you want to make a change in the front three, do you bring Ahmad on first or Pellistri on first?
Pellistri.
With
a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, Pellistri. Yeah.
There's pecking orders. There's pecking orders of players who are supposed to be getting minutes, and it's Pellistri who deserves a chance more than anyone.
I think the United fan in you wants to shout out Ahmad, but the sensible thing would Pellistri comes into it, and then in the latter stages you bring Ahmad on. Like I said, with one eye on the cup game in a week's time.
I like Pellistri a lot. Absolutely no problems with that. I like Pellistri a lot. I think he should be playing more than what he already is, to be honest. Let's do some plays to watch, guys. So obviously Højlund was one of them. We're just going to do it as like a team.
Okay.
Obviously Højlund was one of them, which is gutted because he is ill. He's been eating the raw chicken. No, I'm joking. He probably hasn't been, but there's just a bug going around at the moment, isn't there? But he's been ill, which is unfortunate. But the next player to watch we had was another player from Denmark, Eriksen. Christian Eriksen. I mean, Jordan, you weren't here last week.
Yeah.
But how much impact did Eriksen have coming back into the 11?
Well, I put in our United stand group saying, don't underestimate the job Eriksen has done. We know when he's fit and he hasn't played 3 games in a week, he can dictate a game. And what he enabled the team to do was for other players to play in their best positions and give a peace of mind to someone like Bruno, who I felt played well the other day. And I know Bruno has a lot of critics and splits the fan base, but I thought that was one of Bruno's best games this season. But that comes with Eriksen. I feel like he can pick a pass that other players can't necessarily see. He helps out defensively. He can hold the ball. He's got a cool head on him, and we've massively missed him. The thing is to not overplay him, and the fact that we are out of Europe will actually play in to the hands of someone like Eriksen, because he can't play 2-3 times a week, 90 minutes. Once a week, you can rely on someone like Eriksen to come in and do a job.
I think I agree with you. I think what it was as well, Faz, is that when you have Eriksen and Mainu in there, you've got 2 players that can control a midfield. Yeah,
that's a fair analysis, most definitely. Players who don't look like they're going to lose the ball if they just have a couple of players around them, and that's been my number one thing when it comes to Sofyan Amrabat. He looks like, in my eyes, he doesn't like players being around him at all. And
doesn't like to be pressed.
Was it you who said he plays with coins in his, he runs like he's got coins in his pocket?
It wasn't me, but it could have been.
I think someone said it. But I can see why, because he's almost rushing the play, whereas top-class midfielders make the game look like it's going slower than it is. You know what I mean? They have to slow the game down, and they don't panic when there's players around them. And Eriksen might not do that. The only thing is just when Eriksen doesn't have the ball and he's tracking a player, or when it comes to a physical battle, he's not going to come out on top. And that's what's...
Someone in the chat just said Eriksen is not defensive, and he's not. But we have more control because sometimes obviously he's not defensive and he can be weak, especially on the counter, and he's not someone who's going to put in a proper good tackle. But when you're intelligent, you know where to be on the football pitch at the right time, and you know how to keep hold of the ball, you're not getting counter-attacked half as much, so it does help you.
And it's more about, you can pass the ball to someone like Eriksson, and he can hold the ball to allow other players to get back into their positions. It relieves the pressure. So I totally agree that, he isn't overly defensive, but he enables the defensive players to be better defensive players. But yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, it's going to be tough for Eriksson and Mainu in there, though, away at the City Ground, physical team. It's a lot to ask, but I think they can do it.
You know how much better we would be if we had one midfielder who could beat up a man or two in midfield and carry the ball a couple of yards.
Like a De Jong.
I hate to trigger you out, but Paul Pogba-esque. I hate to do it. I really do. I hate. But you know he can do it. Frankie as well. Being able to turn, when you get impressed by two players, having a little bit of skill on you to beat them, and then instantly come in front of 20, 30 yards of space, and then pinging a ball to the wingers or the strikers or just progressing it forward. Paul and Frankie are players that can do that, yes.
Okay. I ask you a question about Amrabat, just going back to something you said about, do you think he's struggling coming from a league where they've got so much time on the ball, and you haven't got that hustle and bustle and that physicality, and he's just struggling to adapt? Where normally he can take time, he can look up. Now he's got to get the ball and make a decision.
Yeah, the tempo is definitely going to be a factor. But don't forget, when a player is coming to Manchester United or any team, straight away other teams are analysing that player. Other teams are thinking, let's go and look at his footage and let's find out what these players' weaknesses are. Remember, obviously, Troy Deeney saying Fred was our trigger. Amrabat's now become the opposition team's trigger because that's his weakness. The tempo is something that you need to adjust to, and which can take a bit of time. I get it. Yeah. But if you're a top player, right, designated to play for Manchester United at whatever level it is, you should be able to learn the tempo of the game. That's what top players do. You shouldn't need this much amount of time. It's very simple. You have to receive the ball, pop it off, receive the ball, and if you're naturally looking like you're panicking when a player's pressing you, you're not going to fix that. I promise you. You are not going. You're either press resistant or you're not. Look at Kobe Mainoo. He's 18 years old, and when he's getting pressed or whatever, he's calm, no problem at all.
He looks like he's 28, doesn't he? He looks like he's 28.
You can't teach press resistance to a player. You just have it or you don't.
Okay.
I think that's why Pep refuses to play Calvin Phillips, because everyone in that team has to be absolutely unbelievably
Pep's one of his number one ethos is you have to be willing to receive the ball. You have to be actively asking your teammates for the ball. We criticise Scott McTominay for that. And Sofiane Amrabat, he may look like he wants to receive the ball, but when he receives it, he doesn't look comfortable with it. He doesn't look like he wants to do some creative things with it. Bruno, on the other hand, he makes tons of passes, but he's actively seeking the ball. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's the type of players Manchester United need. Frankie is that type of player who will actively seek the ball, and you can press him, he'll turn you, no problem, and he'll carry the team forward.
It's like the difference between Amrabat receiving it from Onana to Mainu is like night and day.
Yeah. And a question about Amrabat. Klopp really wanted him. Would he have been a different player if he'd gone to Liverpool?
Other midfielders obviously have an impact, for sure. But look, Klopp wanted Mason Mount. Klopp wanted Caicedo, and ended up with Endo and Gravenberch and Szoboszlai.
The answer is probably yes.
Top managers are able to make the best out of the players that they have and hide their deficiencies. That's what they do. Trent is not the best fullback when it comes to defending. He's not. But how has Klopp figured that out? That he's making it work somehow. That's what top managers do.
I still think Amrabat's, from what we've seen so far, he's not very good. But I think we've got to give him a bit of time. Like, he has only just come in. And this is why people already write him out. I think we've got to give players a bit of time. We've got some super chats in. Grant Fisher says, do you think Ahmad or Pellistri should be loaned out? Yes or no, quickly.
Who, sorry?
Do you think Ahmad or Pellistri should be loaned out?
No. I don't think we've got that luxury at the moment.
Which one? Quickly.
Pellistri.
Really?
You'd send him out alone, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, because he's not getting any minutes. It's just unfair on him.
The Duke says, I feel like Erik ten Hag does not trust Pellistri. Had good games in the beginning of the season, still didn't get game time. I think we'll lose him in the summer. Tomo Duff says, Giggs played left, Beckham played right, Ronaldo played right. How can we all be seeing this, but Ten Hag, put Anthony on the left, I'm begging you. Thomas, hopefully the best defence is having the ball. He's our best. You're talking about Eriksen there, which is true. Lee, member for 5 months. Hi guys, great show. For me personally, Dallo is our best wing back we currently have technically. Enjoy your evening, love, Lee. Patrick says, is Ten Hag going to play Mainu and Casemiro together? I'm afraid Ten Hag sees Mainu as Casemiro's replacement. What are we going to do with Mount? Your guess is as good as mine. We'll see what Ten Hag's plan for him is when he comes back from injury, because he will be back midway through January. I hope we see Mainu and Casemiro play together. I'm sure they will be able to.
Yeah, I think in the game where the double pivot is needed, that's your double pivot.
Mateus Bowles, member for 19 months. Thank you very much. But yeah, everyone, let's move on to next player to watch because we are running out of time. So the next player to watch we had was Garnacho.
Who had Garnacho?
Me.
Oh, okay. Do you want to go first?
The reason I said Garnacho is because obviously he had a couple poor games like the most of our team did, and then missed that chance at West Ham, and then last game against Villa was absolutely clutch. He was brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a little bit selfish in the one where he took it around the keeper and scored it when he probably should have passed to Rasmus, and another one, but he scored it, that first one, so, you know, you don't run back to it, and then the other one he probably should have passed as well, but ultimately he's got confidence, he's got flair. For his first game on the right wing, he was unbelievable. He knows where the back of the net is, and I just think today's another game where he can play and kick on. He seems to have solidified his place in that 11.
I definitely think he has solidified his place. I think he is one of those players that if he senses he's got the fullback on notice, he thrives off it and he will terrorise that fullback. And that's been sometimes one of the criticisms maybe of a Rashford, where you think you've got the pace to really give this fullback a hard time, go for the throat, and he doesn't. Where Garnacho the other day was just like, this is my game, and he kind of wanted to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. Sometimes he is a little bit too confident, but definitely the other day I thought he was brilliant, and the future is bright. He is going to have games at his age where, you know, he's going to have dull games, because he is a young talent, and we have to be patient with him. He's not going to deliver week in, week out. We're probably using him more than we would have wanted to use him because of other players not performing well, like Anthony, like Mason Mount, so on and so forth. You would have thought that other players would have come into the team and eased the pressure, that we wouldn't be relying on a player at that age as much as we are. But the boy seems to be thriving off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I like about him as well is he's intelligent. Like he's in the right place at the right time, and of course, sometimes maybe he could cross it a bit more, but usually he does make the right decision. Not everyone's going to make it every single time, but yeah. I do like him. Next up, we have, also there's 12,000 people watching live, so thank you very much.
Big numbers.
Please hit a like on the video if you want Man United to win this game. Next player to watch, which was yours, I think, Faz, Rashford.
Yeah. Obviously, huge amount of criticism for him from everyone this season, and understandably. But good performance. I'm not gonna get carried away and say it was fantastic or really good performance. It was just good enough performance for that particular game. There's loads more that we need to see from him, and you know what? He should be a fluid player. He should be willing to play the number 9, the position on the left, on the right. He's created the most amount of chances or opportunities for Rasmus Højlund this season. Let's not forget that as well. So, which is a positive. But overall, his output has not been as good as it needs to be. He can be selfish at times, or he believes in himself, which is fair enough on his shot. But sometimes it doesn't come across. I hope he can just today most definitely help the wingers out a bit, because he's going to play the number 9, the central position. So they'll probably have to create loads more for him. And even if the ball lands on him, I hope he's not too selfish to do something himself, instead of just, using the wingers around him, because he's got Garnacho there who can also score goals. So yeah, let's see how this game pans out. You need a series of games to say, right, okay, he's doing good now.
Garnacho's in my FPL as well. And my dad, who's literally like 2 points ahead of me, had Palmer in. So I need Garnacho to do something for me, the differential.
Who's ahead of you in the United stand group?
I was top of the league last week.
No, you're not.
Am I not anymore?
You never were.
I was last week.
Not everyone had played.
We were level on points, I
Not
think.
everyone had played.
Well, I'm second anyway.
Just wanted to get that in there.
No, fair enough. You are the FPL king.
There we go.
Rhea Magali says, is it just me or do we always get beat by teams that just got a new manager? Do you think this XI can overcome the opponent's new manager bounce?
It is a problem. And also, I feel like ex-players just seem to come back to haunt us more than other clubs. Although it happened to Arsenal the other day, which was nice to see. But yeah, you know, you think of your Welbecks over the years, just always scores against us. I've just got a funny feeling Elanga's going to come and have an absolute worldie against us. So yeah.
Villa win it 3-2 in the 90th minute. It's not ended yet, but they've just got a penalty. Jacob Don says, I believe we have a top 4 team. We lack the football intelligence right now, but we'll get better as the season goes on. I mean, I wish I had that belief. Nikembe says, is it outlandish to say Scott to be subbed in as a centre forward? I mean, could happen. Could happen. And are they all the ones we've got right now? They are. So that's everyone's plays to watch done. So for the last 5 or 6 minutes, and everyone in the chat get yours in as well. We'll talk about it. Okay. Okay, right, you didn't have to say it, admin. Jordan is 9 points ahead of Beth as we speak. Not too many. I can catch you with the Garnacho one. But guys, let's get score predictions and how the game's going to go. Faz.
How the game's going to pan out. I think Garnacho's going to have a very, very positive game today. I can feel it, especially how the season's panned out for him. It's going to be interesting to see how Nottingham Forest play against our midfield, considering Eriksen isn't the most physical player. You know, he can lose the ball quite easily. Same with Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno's been doing okay so far in the last couple of games, keeping things simple and not playing hoofball. But now today, Rashford is in the middle. I'm hoping that it doesn't go back to the typical Bruno Fernandes where he's just trying to find Rashford every other pass. In terms of us conceding, the only way I see us conceding is obviously through Anthony Elanga or a set piece, which we're obviously diabolical at defending or attacking. Other than that, I still predict a win for Manchester United, and I think I predict a 2-0. I know I went for a draw in the group chat.
Change your tune now.
Yeah, I'm changing my tune a little bit now. I don't know why, but I just feel like...
You don't think Forest will score at home?
No, I don't think so.
Same.
I do.
And I say that because Dallo, Evans...
Well, Dallo scored against Forest last time round.
Yeah, winning goal.
Yeah.
Outside the box. Fantastic.
Was it outside the box? I thought it was the one that Anthony put it through to him and then he ran through into the box.
Was it not the outside the box that he scored against Forest?
Or no, that was against Sheffield United, I think.
That was Sheffield.
Forest, he scored one that made a run into the box. It was good. I've got a good memory when it comes to United games. But I think I'm right on that. Someone will correct me if I'm not. But Jordan, what's your prediction?
My prediction is 2-1. I don't trust us to keep clean sheets between Onana being in the goal and the fact that we just tend to struggle against pacey teams, and they are young and an athletic Nottingham Forest team. So I do think we will concede, but I do think that there are goals in us. We scored 3 the other day. I'm happy that midfield has stayed the same. I think at the moment that is our best balanced midfield, which enables each of the players to play to the best of their abilities. So I'm glad there's no changes there. And also, the more players play with each other, the more of an understanding that they will have. So it's important that we try and have a settled team. Far too often we go into these build-ups and we're trying to guess what the starting 11 is. So it's nice to see that there's minimal changes, especially with the news that we've got a lot of players coming back in January. Rashford through the middle, Garnacho. You'd like to think Garnacho's nice and confident and wants to kick on from his performance the other day. Forest are not going to sit back. I think they will come out and attack us, which will hopefully leave space in behind for Rashford and Garnacho to exploit. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 United.
What I would say is, I mean, 2-1 United I think is a good prediction. What I would say is, when it comes to Forest, Chris Wood scored a hat-trick last week, didn't he? Which I didn't think he had it in his locker, some of them finishes. I was watching him on Match of the Day, I was thinking, Jesus, he had a brilliant game.
But the chances that were created for him were even better.
Yeah. Johnny Evans
made it easy for him.
But he took a few on his own though, like his footwork was great.
Yeah.
Can Johnny Evans and Varane handle him? I hope so. I hope so. You'd like to think so.
Huge amounts of experience between them two. They should be able to.
Let's hope Dalot can handle Elanga. Do you know who worries me, who I think's brilliant? I say it every time, Gibbs White.
Gibbs White.
I think Gibbs White's brilliant. I think he'll end up at a top club in the coming years. Yeah, he's only young, isn't he? I think he's got a lot going for him. If we didn't have Bruno, I'd be having a look.
Similar to Brennan Johnson as well, ended up at Spurs.
I think Gibbs White's better than Brennan Johnson.
But you look and, there was a time where Elanga was there, Lingard was there, Henderson was there, and there was a massive sort of rivalry that they had with us, ex-players wanting to. They seem to have got rid of a lot of the egos. And I think that the new manager thing will be a problem for us. They're a good team.
Someone said if Beth likes him, don't buy him. Shush. Shut to your
Who
mouth.
said that? Genius comment.
I get it all the time. But no, I do. I think he's good. I'm going with 2-1 as well, Jordan.
Good.
Also, do you know who's having a poor season? Brentford. They just got beat again 3-1 by Palace. They could get dragged in, Where are they, Brentford, now? The 15th in the table.
No Tony, no party.
I mean, Tony's going to come back in and boost them up, but they've had a poor season.
When is he back? Is he back
ever
in
since
February,
Thomas Frank went on a Monday Night Football and told everyone his tactics.
Yeah.
But no, Burnley got robbed, people are saying. But I'm going to go as well, Jordan. I'm going to join you on a 2-1. I don't trust us to keep a clean sheet. I just don't.
No, neither do I.
Who do you think will be the scorers?
Rashford and Garnacho. Yeah.
I'm hoping. I'm going to go with Rashford and Garnacho as well.
Eriksen. I think Eriksen will get a goal today.
Do you?
Yeah. And Garnacho, yeah. Eriksen and Garnacho, I feel like, will get a goal today. I don't know why.
I'll take one off the ref's arse as long as we win. I don't care. I just want us to pick up another 3 points and kick on, honestly.
Yeah.
Someone said Elanga will score a screamer. No. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. I wish Elanga very well, apart from today. I mean, one thing I'll say before we go, because Mark is going live. What happens if United don't win this game?
Oh.
Can you imagine?
It's worrying, isn't it?
Faz on the warpath.
Plus, it's the last game before the end of the year, so you want to end it on a special one. But Mark is live. So we are going to hand over to Mark. I just want to say before we go, well, actually, I'll say it on the forum because this isn't the last I'll see you before New Year. We will be back with the forum a little bit later. Thank you, Jordan, for the build-up. Thank you, Faz, for the build-up. And a special shout-out to Sean Millis. Thank you very much for coming on, giving us a little sing-along. And even though Hoyland is ill today, which I'm gutted about, it was brilliant to have Sean on.
It was brilliant to have him on. Just quickly, Faz, what's your late flood Mark's commentary?
Listen, it can only be one thing. And I know it's Rasmus Højlund's not playing, right? But
Miracle.
It has to be. With credit to Sean and paying love to Sean, go and raid Mark's chat with Miracle. Absolutely raid it. And hopefully we get a miraculous win today because we need it.
Come on, United.
And that's what we end it on. Come on, United. Thank you, everyone. Hit like on the video on your way out and we'll see you on the forum.